All right. We told you last week that it was a 3-part video. We're wearing the same outfit.
What are the
2
chances?
weeks in a row?
What are the chances we're wearing the same? And you have the big ass hair again.
Hasn't changed.
Is this like Friday hair? No, we're filming these in advance.
First time only.
Well, because
It's a 3-part video.
I know, and most people, and because I'm on a 21-day road trip, so
He gone.
I'm leaving today for 21 days, and I won't be back. I won't be back for 21 days. All right. So last week, or a couple minutes ago, can we say that? Last week we discussed, or a couple of seconds ago to me, but a week for you. Technology is fantastic.
All right, listen, let's get into it. So last week we talked about authenticity.
Or a couple minutes ago.
We talked about authenticity.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the trust triangle. So this week, let's talk about part 2.
So empathy is a really interesting one because this is one where buyers need our empathy. They don't need our sympathy, they need our empathy. And sympathy is I feel sorry for you. Empathy is I'm trying to understand you. So in the trust triangle, a buyer or a person that you're trying to build trust with, they have to sense that you care. And they have to sense you care through this methodology and this feeling of empathy. That's why all of sales, the entire sales interaction, should always be wrapped in a blanket of empathy, not sympathy. And empathy means that I'm trying to understand your perspective. I'm trying to understand where you come from. And I know it's a symbol that I care about you when I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. Well, the challenge is that you have to be curious if you want to be empathetic, because I don't know where you come from. I don't know what it's like to be Morgan. I don't have genie hair. I'm not a female. I'm not a mom. I'm none of those things. I've never been any of those things. So if I want to coach you, if I want to build a trusting relationship with you, I want to have influence with you, well, I have to understand the best I can what it's like to be you. But I'll never be you. So the only way I can understand your perspective is I get insanely curious about you, ask you great questions, really understand what you see, how you see it, because I'll never see it that way. So I'm going to try my hardest to figure out and do what's called perspective switching, and that means me being able to see your perspective so that I can apply and have better influence in you, so I can show you that I care, so I can apply what I've learned. And so most people, they lack this. They lack empathy. They say they're empathetic, but they're not actually empathetic, because if there's no curiosity, there's no empathy. Let me say it again. No curiosity, no empathy. No empathy, no trust. And so when you're with a buyer, that's why asking great questions, we say EEA, explore, educate, advance. We always start with explore. Everything we do, we start with exploring. Why? Because when I explore, it shows that I'm curious. When I'm curious and I ask questions, it shows that I care. When I care, it shows that I'm building trust. It builds trust. So the idea is, what questions are you asking? Are you leading the conversation? Does a buyer sense you care? If all you're doing is educating, which is what we see on these shops, is what we see with salespeople do, it's an over amount of education and an under amount of empathy. They're not exploring, which means the buyer senses they don't care because they're not asking any questions. Or if the questions they're asking, they're very surface level. How many bedrooms? How many square feet? No. Tell me what it's like. What is the situation you're going through? What's driving this move? Tell me what your fears about making this move are. Tell me what you're uncertain about. Really understanding, getting the root of what this person sees so that I can then apply the best education to them. This is where we screw it up, because we're not curious enough, which means we're not building trust. Empathy is the biggest one. The entire sales process should be wrapped in a blanket of empathy. And I think if you look at any relationship in your life, the ones that are the most important to you, the ones that have the strongest level of trust, is the one where you understand that person's perspective the best. If you don't understand my perspective, you simply don't care about me. If you don't care about me, I'm out. I don't trust you. That's part 2 of the Triangle of Trust. Stay tuned next week, or a couple minutes, for part 3.
Oh, God, we got to think about how to open the next one.